Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you a fun way to make a card, either an invitation or just any occasion card. And what's really fun about this is that we're going to put it in a clear bag to mail it. And the bags I'm using, the tool I'm using, they're both from our sponsor Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. And these are actually the bags that I use for packaging my handmade cards for sale in my booth. But I thought it'd be really fun to put the card in a clear bag like this as an envelope, just so that it's kind of got a very fun, whimsical look when it's going through the mail and when it's delivered. So I'm going to show you how to make this card today, and I just threw in some scraps of tulle in the back, or actually this is Deco Mesh. It's kind of like a tulle, but it's a little more coarser, and I also wrapped the card in a scrap, and here you can see how the card looks. It's so fun to make, and if you get this Deco Mesh for different crafts, it's a great way you can use up the leftovers to embellish your card. Now, wouldn't that make a great birthday party invitation for like an under the sea party or something? I think it totally would. So here's how we're going to make this card. I'm starting off with a half sheet of cardstock, and I've just scored it in half. And we're going to do some stamping, and I'm using some Nautical Stamps. You can do this with any sort of motif you want, but I'm just really into the Nautical Stamps these days. And I'm going to start off with 3 different shades of green. I've got this lightest green. This is called Green Galore. It's an old Stampin' Up! Ink. This is Freshly Cut Grass by Lawn Fawn, and then I've got Teal by Simon Says Stamps. So you can mix and match your dye-based ink brands. It really doesn't matter. So I'm taking this Seahorse stamp, and this is a layering stamp, and they've become very popular lately. Basically, you stamp each layer in a different shade of ink, and it builds it to kind of make a more realistic design. They're really fun, and they take a little more time to stamp than just like, you know, a single image, but since you don't have to spend time coloring it, it can save you a lot of time in that respect. So this would be the middle layer, so it's got a little more detail, and I'll try to line it up pretty good. I usually have my head kind of right on top of it when I'm stamping with these, so I might be a little bit off while I'm trying to do this on camera and hold it out in front of myself, but when you do it, you want kind of put your head right over it so you can really look down through your clear stamp and make sure it's lined up. But even if it's off a little bit, it still looks pretty charming. Because it's a stamp, it's handmade, it should look handmade. So there you can already see we have a lot more detail with this. And then finally, I'm going to go with a darker ink, and this it just has like kind of the darkest shadow details in there. I'm just going to use this kind of teal colored ink. And again, I'm going to try my best to line it up well. I'm a little off on that one, but it's alright. It still looks pretty. They're pretty forgiving. This stamp set is by Hero Arts, and I'll link it up in the video description as well, or on my blog. There we go. So there, these, now the Seahorses have dimension, and we didn't have to sit and color this for hours. So this makes it really nice if you're doing like a birthday invitation or something, because you can do it fairly quickly. So the next thing I want to do is some grasses, and this is from a different stamp set that has fish in it, also by Hero Arts. And I'm going to just ink this up with this kind of, it's a, let's see, what's it called? It's kind of an olivey color. It's called Beanstalk Green by Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to stamp these grasses, and here's a little tip. I'm going to do it this way. These are 3 individual stamps. You could actually put them on 3 different stamp mounts if you wanted to. That would, and you know, put them exactly the way you want them, but this is a little bit quicker, especially if you're making a bunch of cards. Then I'm going to turn it around and stamp it the other way, so I've got grasses and seaweed and stuff going in the opposite direction. So that's just a nice way that you can kind of get things to look a little more natural and random. Let me flip it again, just get some shorter grasses here. Do as many or as few as you like. It's completely up to you. I kind of like how they almost look like they're ribbons braiding around each other. Good idea is also to put your lid on your ink pad when you're not using it, so you don't make a mess. Now that Seahorse set also had some little silhouettes, and a silhouette basically means that it does not have all the details, just kind of like an outline. So I'm going to go ahead and put a few of these little seahorse silhouettes using the darker of my colors. You could actually alternate it and use a couple different colors, but I think this dark color looks really nice. And I have one more on this mount. We'll put that one in there too. He's going the other way. He's marching to his own drum. They're going the other way. And I also have some little bubbles, which I think I'll put here. I think I'll use a different shade of blue for that though, because let's use this. I think this will be a little bit better. They're so cute though. This is such a fun stamp project that, you know, you could totally, whoops, I didn't want to stamp that. You could totally let your kids make these, and each one is going to be a little different and charming and cute, and I just love projects like that. And do a couple different size bubbles. And if you stamp things a couple times, you'll get different generations, so each time will get a little bit lighter, and it looks kind of cool when you do that. Just looks a little more natural. I like to have lots of little bubbles around my seahorses. There. So that was pretty easy. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put a little background in. This is also a very inexpensive card to make. I mean, once the stamps, of course, and the inks, providing you already have stamps and inks in your stash, we're doing this all in one layer, so it basically gives you more ways to use your supplies. So I'm going to put the stencil down on top, and I get a lot of questions about these little brushes that I use here. These are called color dusters, and they're basically like a man's shaving brush. These are harder to find nowadays. I think the company that makes them might have stopped making them or might be kind of winding down their business. But you can go to a hardware store like Harbor Freight and get those 1-inch chip brushes, and you can get like 36 of them for $10 or less. You could use a coupon on it even and get them for less, and then you could have one for each color of ink. And I don't wash them. I just let the ink build up because it makes it so you don't waste your ink. It's really cool. So I'm just going in and kind of filling in the background with this ink over the stencil. I think I'm going to add a little green. I think I'll use that nice bright green that I used as the first layer of my seahorse, and I'm just going to go right over the bottom part of the stencil with that. You will want to wipe your stencil off with a baby wipe when you're done to get all of that dye-based ink off the top, because it's not like acrylic paint. It's not going to dry. If you don't clean it, this ink will be smushed onto your next project, so you'll want to be aware of that. So now we've got a cool pattern on there, but it's more subtle than what we have stamped, so it all looks nice together, but we just kept reusing the same colors, so everything matches, which I think is really kind of nice. Definitely under the sea theme here. I'm gonna let that dry for a second, and I want to show you how I made these little anchors that I'm going to use for an embellishment. I got them kind of stuck to my package here. These are also by Hero Arts, and they're really cute. And again, you know, you could use a pre-made die cut if you wanted to, but I like to be able to use the same inks over and over again because it just adds to the harmony. So I just got a piece of regular cardstock, and these are also layering stamps. One of them is a solid, so let me stamp that first. I'm going to do this in a light ink, and this is just kind of the outline of the anchor. Stamp that. I think I got it covered pretty well. Oh, and what I'm stamping on is just those scratch pads from the Dollar Tree. They're in the kids section. They're the newsprint pads that they sell, you know, when your kids do like a bazillion drawings or something. It's just inexpensive paper for your kids to like draw like crazy on, but I love it for protecting my work surface because it gives me a little cushion when I'm stamping, and when that top sheet is dirty, I can just throw it away and I have another sheet underneath. So then I'm just going to carefully line this up. Again, you probably want to put your head right on top of that, and I'm trying not to. Stamp straight down. There, and you can see it's very easy to line up. I'll just bring that up there a little bit so you can see it. And then what you would do is this little kit comes with 4 different stamps, 3 designs, 1 solid one, and a little die. And then I would just go and put that through, run that through my die cut machine like that, just crank her on through, and then I'd end up with one of these little anchors, which is really just fun. And a lot of people asked me when I shared that these stamps in my last haul video, asked me to do a project with them, so I thought, oh, what the heck, I can do that. Okay, so now another thing I want to do is, I thought that this, I do like to add a little bit of layer. I like to keep it kind of easy, especially if you're doing an invitation, but I do like to have some layers on there. So what I did was I just tore a little strip off of a piece of craft cardstock. You can use a brown paper bag, it'll work just as fine. And I've got some other layering stamps that came in those same kits I was showing you. And I've got 2 different shells here I'm going to use. So I'm going to stamp the bottom, like the shadow layer, with a light kind of caramel colored ink. And I am going to, and you can leave space in the middle if you want to stamp a sentiment. And then I'll do the same thing with the shadow layer of this stamp. And I think I'll leave it as in threes like that, because I think things in threes look nice. And we're going to put that on top. That's the top layer of that shell. And then we'll do this little oyster shell here. This one's a little harder to see because of the darkness of the paper, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And there we've got that cute little border strip we're going to put down. And then for a little texture to kind of marry the two things, we're going to use some more tulle here. And this is Deco Mesh, which is, you know, like I mentioned before, very similar to tulle, but it's a coarser weave. I use tulle a lot in cards and bookmarks to get that kind of a very whimsical look, and I think this works really well with nautical cards because it has that kind of fishnetty look to it. So I'm going to move a few ink pads out of the way so I don't get my tool into it. And I'm just going to kind of figure out how I want this to go. And I like getting those glittery streaks in there, so I think I'm going to have it like that. I am going to pull out a few more strands of the fiber there so I get kind of like a rough top. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a haircut so that it's not all even. The less perfect, the better. Now I'm going to use a little double-sided adhesive right across the bottom there. And that's going to hold my tool. And we'll trim it so that it looks neat. So don't worry about that. I'm just going to get that pushed down into my tape. And then I'm going to take that piece here that I made, and I'm going to put a generous amount of tape onto that. Okay. And I'm going to line that up with the cardstock. Alright, so I'm just looking at the cardstock edges here. And then I'm going to go in with my scissors and trim it up. Just like so. I like to trim it from the back because I find it's a little bit easier to get that. There we go. And you got room for a sentiment there if you want to put "you're invited" or "thank you" or "happy birthday" or whatever you want to put on there will be just fine. I think I'm going to throw, or you could just put your anchor right there, which I think is what I'm going to do right now because I'm not sure. We're up for debate here a little bit as to what the birthday party, what my daughter's birthday party is going to be this year. So I don't want to put "you're invited" yet because we might end up doing something different. Although I did find some really cute seashell and seahorse ceramics the other day, and I bought them because they were an unreal price and they were so cute, and I love nautical things, so I'm really hoping they'll go for the under the sea party, but we'll see. I'm going to be doing a cool under the sea piñata coming up soon, so you'll want to definitely stay tuned for that. And then just for a few accents, what we're going to do is use a glitter pen, and this is a Jelly Roll Stardust, I believe it's called, and it just gives you just a really dainty bit of shimmer. And I'm just kind of going in there and just kind of scribbling it in there a little bit. You could take more time with that, but I don't want this video to take a bazillion hours out of your day. I'm gonna do a little bit on the shells too. I mean, it's just an accent anyway. And there's that. So let's take a peek at that. And you know, it's a fairly quick card you can make. And if you're doing an assembly line style, you know, you could do all of your one layers first, or even pass it to the next person and have a card making party along. I think those are really fun. Maybe even a little bit of this glitter along the edge of the sand just to give it that sparkle that sand has. Okay, so to put it in the envelope, what you're going to do is just cut a piece of tulle that's a little bit bigger than your card and put that, I like to put it face down like this so that it's on the smooth part of the tulle, and then when you see it through the bag, you're going to see you're going to really be able to see the card quite a bit. It'll be really pretty. And then we're going to get a bag, and this is the one I just used, so the seal is still exposed, so that might want to stick on things, but we'll try to work with that, and try to just put it in the bag so it's going to fit tight. Now I find that the 6x9 envelopes are the most useful to me, And you can get a standard size card in it the short way. It might take a little fidgeting. Just slide that in like that. It goes in a lot easier if you haven't already taken the adhesive off. Now you can mail it just like that, or you can throw in a little bit of sequins, which I think is fun. You could throw in some additional little scraps of tulle in there if you want to. That's completely up to you. It's fun if you have it left over, like from your party decorations or whatnot. It's a great way to use it up and to add a little excitement to the theme of the party. You can even throw in additional die cuts if you have some left over. That way you won't have... I've always found that like whenever I've cut extra die cuts and I've had them around, I never use them. I'm better off to just absorb all of the pieces that I've cut for a party or a certain project. Just use it up as much as I can, because then you have, then it matches and you don't have to hunt around for it later. And look, some of the sequins went on the front of this one, and I think it's kind of pretty like that. So to address this, you'll want to put a label sticker on here, because the tulle is going to cover it up. Or I mean, if you just want to mail the card as is without the tulle wrapped around it, you could write the address on the back of the envelope, on the back of the card before you put it in the bag, which is another good idea. But there you have it, a fun card that you can make as a birthday party invitation or just as a fun card to send in the mail. Who wouldn't love to get that? If you want the tulle or bags that we use today, check out our sponsor Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. Packaging for less.